Hey guys, just gonna do a quick video today on how to Plasti Dip your jaws for sharpening systems. In this case, they're the jaws for the TSProf Cadet. Something a lot of people like to do, so I thought I'd just do a quick demonstration video of my process for it. The jaws sometimes, since they're aluminum, will have issues with certain full flat grinds or really small blades, or just any scenario where you might need to feel like you need to add a piece of leather or tape or something to add stability or fill in some gaps on the blade, between the blade and the jaws. Not to mention the Plasti Dip coating, since it's rubber, will protect your blades, so you won't have to be fiddling with, masking tape or painter's tape around the jaws or around your blades, which can actually cause a little bit of slipping and movement as well, just because it's kind of slippery on the surface. So it fixes that problem as well, and your blades won't get scratched. So we'll go ahead and get at it, and I'll show you what my process is. First of all, I cleaned each of these. You don't need to watch this. You don't need a YouTube video showing you how to clean, but first I did acetone, and it's probably overkill, but then I did rubbing alcohol after, just to get the acetone residue off, and just made sure they're perfectly clean. Took the screws out as well. I'm just gonna dip them up, right up to where the screws start, so I'll just try to dip up to there. Can't really use the spray paint version, which is more common of Plasti Dip, because you can't really get an even coat inside this thin area. So you have to get a can of the dip. On the top, it will say what color it is. This one's black. Only places I could find black is Harbor Freight and Home Depot. Walmart and Amazon seem to only have like yellow and clear, but I got black, so it's only about $10 for a bottle or a can. What I did with the string, I'm gonna hang it after, so I'm gonna dip it and then hang it. And for the string, what I did to make sure the string doesn't come off is with the end pointed to my left, you just do a little lasso. And if you do it that way, you have a little lasso, and you hang it on something, or you put it around something. In this case, show you real quick, the edge of the screw on the back of the jaws. By hanging it, the lasso tightens whenever you put pressure on it. Just make sure that the end, when you tie the lasso, is facing to your left. So it'll be like this, and you just tie a little lasso. And that way, whenever something's in it, it tightens and will loosen up, assuming you did this part right. All right, so rubbing alcohol here, just make sure one last time these are clean. And you gotta feed it in there through the middle, make sure you get the insides clean as well, which I already did. The instructions say to dip at a rate of 1 inch per second. I'm sorry, 1 inch every 5 seconds, and withdraw at the same rate. Allow 30 minutes between coats. Apply as many coats as desired. Allow 4 hours minimum dry time before use. I'm shaking it because I haven't opened it yet. Once it's open, I probably may or may not want to shake it, but it says to stir it before each use, so we'll see what it looks like. So as you can see, liquid Plasti Dip, it's basically just liquid rubber. As you would imagine, kind of like tar or really thick paint. Grab a straw real quick, something quick I have on hand. Give it a good stir. All right. First one's up. So 1 inch every 5 seconds. Just make sure it's done dripping before I walk away. Okay, I'm gonna go hang this. I'll be right back. It actually looks really good, and I think I'm only gonna need 1 coat on these, so that's awesome. You probably don't want to go too much thicker than that anyway, because the thicker it is, the more space in the jaws it takes up, which limits the thickest blade that you can have in there. So again, I already did this before with rubbing alcohol. I'm just making sure, get everything off the outside where I might have touched it again since I last cleaned it. And if you mess up, it's not a big deal. Peels right off. So you just have to let it dry, and then you just peel it off. And it comes off completely clean. That's why people use the spray cans to Plasti Dip their car wheels, or sometimes their entire car. If you do it with a sprayer, it's really versatile, awesome stuff. All right. Yeah, pretty cool. All right, guys, all finished up, and actually ended up dipping some tools too, just because why not? A few lessons learned. I only did 1 coat, may end up doing 2 because I can see how potentially on the very edges they might get chipped easy. I think one of these might already have a tiny piece of metal showing through, so 2 coats might be better. Second lesson learned is I shook the can vigorously instead of stirring it, which caused me to get a lot of bubbles. So I redid this one by just stirring it, but I think there was still bubbles in there, so I got a lot less bubbles, but just a few big ones. On the tools, the dip in the can had settled overnight, and then today I just gently stirred it, and you can see how I got hardly any bubbles on there. It's super smooth, so it looks good. And that's only 1 coat. Might do 2 coats on the tools too, just so it's thicker. But yeah. Anyway, pretty cool stuff. The only other thing, when these are drying, they'll be hanging like this, right? As they're drying, the dip kind of slowly pools towards the bottom. And it looks bad while it's drying, like you feel like there's gonna be big drips coming off the end and big old bags of, just looks like these wet bags of dip that are drying. But when it all dried and is all finished, it looks fine. So it somehow all dissipates and ends up looking good. It's a tiny bit thicker on the ends. You can kind of see how it transitions into a little bit thicker, but I mean, when you look at it this way, it doesn't look like it's anything that's going to affect functionality. That one you can see a little bit more on the outside, but for some reason on the inside, looks pretty good. Anyway, I suppose you could dip it, and then instead of just leaving it like this and letting it hang, you could dip it and then let it dry for maybe 30 seconds to where it's kind of sort of set. And then I guess you could turn it like this and kind of twist it around for about 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes, make it super even. So it just depends how into the weeds you want to get with this, or how much perfectionism or OCD you have. I have quite a bit, so things like this bug me. I'll probably end up redoing it at some point just because of the bubbles, but I'm gonna try and leave it for now, so that if it does get dinged or starts to peel later, then I can just redo it at that point. Pretty easy. So anyway, that's all I can think of for now. And yeah, let me know if you have any questions. Thanks for watching.